Hi, and welcome to Say Grace, Food for Thought and Hospitality. I'm Steve Palmer, and I invite you to join me as we explore the stories behind leaders in the hospitality industry and beyond. Say Grace is a place to reflect, connect, and savor thoughtful narratives. Everyone has a seat at our table. So pull up a chair and let's discover the transformative power of hospitality together. Hey, and welcome to Say Grace, where we unpack all things hospitality by the beautiful souls that design, create, execute, cook, create hospitality, all the things. And I am here in Nashville. These will be called the Nashville Sessions, but I'm going to read your bio, Sweet. Jon, and then we'll get into it. But it is my pleasure today to introduce Jon Murray. It's a special treat to have my friend Jon Murray here, founder of Noko and Kase. With Southern roots and global lens, Jon is reshaping modern hospitality through these two acclaimed East Nashville restaurants, grounded in purpose, creativity, and care. With nearly 2 decades of experience in the industry, Jon is committed to changing hospitality from the inside out, building people-first workplaces and concept-driven restaurants that challenge industry norms and deliver thoughtful, intentional dining experiences. Jon, welcome to Say Grace.
Appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah, man.
This is full circle.
This is full circle.
This is wild.
The teacher becomes the student. I like it.
Yeah.
How did you find food? How did you find this industry?
Well, I mean, how I found it, oddly enough, was through you.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, I knew of restaurants. My first job was a dishwasher at Applebee's in college, but that was literally just a job. And until I started working with you, and it didn't happen immediately, right? Maybe 3 or 4 years into working with you, I realized that you could create an amazing life in restaurants.
Amen.
And that's what I wanted to do.
And what was it about that experience that took it from this is just a job to this is my life's endeavor, this is my purpose?
Kimball Brienza, who your partner in Oku's.
Operating partner at Oku.
Yeah, he had a conversation with me because when I worked with you, it was just basically like a stopover to whatever was next, even though I didn't know what next was. And he had a conversation with me after service one night. And he said, listen, man, I know this isn't what you want to do, but you should take pride in it. And that conversation, for whatever reason, resonated with me. And I think I switched my perspective or my lens of what I was doing and started taking pride in it. And I think that moment really reshaped that restaurants and hospitality could be something you could have pride in. Because before it was just like, oh, this is a job until I get a real job.
Right.
So
why do you think our industry, why do you think that is? Because, I do a talk in our restaurants and hotels called Coffee and Culture. And I will often say, we know that for many of you, this isn't your forever thing, but we still want it to be the best job you've ever had. Why do you think people don't see this industry as something that they can create a life in? I've never asked anybody that question. I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
That's a really good question that I don't think I have an amazing answer for, but I would say, as I think about it in this moment, that I think because the perception is reality. And I think the perception of restaurants has been it's just a restaurant.
Right.
That you can't create a meaningful life that is rooted in intention and purpose inside of a restaurant because you're just simply feeding people.
Right.
But for me, I think feeding people, there's nothing more personal than somebody nourishing their body with something that somebody made with their hands.
Right.
So I don't know.
That's a beautiful answer.
I think perception is reality, and for whatever reason, we haven't done a great job at telling the story of how amazing it is to work in a restaurant or hotel.
And I think that's interesting because I would argue not at every level of dining experience, but at the level that we're playing at, our customers might feel differently.
Sure.
You know, and especially, I made this observation recently over the last decade. It seems like the nightclub kind of went away in a lot of ways. I mean, there's still like live music venues, but like going out to dinner seems to be like the social event of the evening. I remember early on it was, we're eating here, then we're all meeting there. And now it just is kind of like the restaurant is the social hub.
Sure.
And I've often said, you know, we get a front row to people's lives, their most intimate moments, the engagement dinner, the reconnection, coming up on the holidays, the forced family obligation,
right.
the divorce dinner, you know.
Sure.
Yeah, well, I think that's really powerful. I love, and I know you do too, what you just said when we see people that maybe found us because, hey, I need to pay my bills, so I'm going to do this thing. And when that light bulb comes on, that like, wow, this could be meaningful. I could stay here.
We take care of people.
Yeah.
And if you can't find value in that, then what can you find value in?
Yeah. Will Guidara says there's nobility in service. And I always love that. So after that conversation, how did that inform your behavior?
I think I just started taking, I mean, the statement pride, like before, you know, it was kind of just like, what can I get for you? I was nice. I was kind. It's not like I was rude, but I didn't really care about the craft of what I was doing. But then the you know, there's a book that Vince Lombardi wrote called When Pride Still Mattered. I've never read it. It was one of my dad's favorite books. But that moment when that statement was made to me, I visualized the Vince Lombardi book. And I started to go, man, if I'm going to do this, then why not take pride in it?
Right.
Right. And so I started to learn the menu more. Where was the fish sourced from?
Right.
You know, where was this producer of wine from? Like all the things that then I could tailor the experience where people came in just to get food and then they walked away going like, holy cow, that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And at what moment in your mind did that transition into you wanting to lead people?
I don't know if I don't know if like I intentionally was like, I want to be a leader.
Right.
I think
we forced you into it.
Well, no, but you know, I think for me, I've always been, not always, but oftentimes I'm driven by a challenge. And I find value when people find value in me. And some of that is from childhood trauma, which you and I have talked through numerous times. Totally. But, you know, when you came to me and said, hey, I want to give you an opportunity to be a GM, I didn't think about leadership. I thought about, well, this is my next step to like a new challenge I can take. And good God, I had no clue what was to happen. Right. Because stepping into leadership it's hard. Even a tenured leader, it's still tough. I had no clue I wanted to be a leader. I just knew that I wanted more.
Talk about that some more. What did you find in that moment, or maybe in this moment? What was hard about it? What was different than, you know, you're a waiter, you're watching your GM move through the restaurant. How is that different for you?
Than being the waiter, than
what you thought it meant to be the GM.
Yeah, I thought a manager was like, I'm the boss. People are going to know who I am. I get to make my own hours. I can say what goes. And the reality is, you know, you're dealing with people. I'm a person. I've got great days and I've got bad days. Some days I need a pat on the back. Some days I need a kick in the butt. You know, leading people, there is no more rewarding thing and there's no harder thing because people Amen. Are people. You've said it. A lot of people say it, one size fits one. What works for you may not work for another person.
Right.
What works for them is not going to work for you. I think I wanted to be a boss, And then I became a boss, and I realized I'm not really the boss. I actually work for them.
Amen. Isn't that unique? The
Yeah.
dichotomy of it all.
Yeah.
Doesn't Simon Sinek say it's not about being in charge, it's about taking care of those in your charge? And what did you find was required of you to get better?
A few things.
Because as a guy that likes a challenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine upon the realization, oh shit, this is harder than I thought. You know, why not run? Why not say, hey man, sorry, didn't know what I was getting.
I thought about it.
I know you did. I would have hunted you down and killed you, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a day for the first year that went by that I didn't think about quitting because it was hard. I think a few things. One was the ability to give feedback even when it was difficult. The second was to receive feedback when it was difficult. And I think the superpower of all superpowers is the ability to be vulnerable.
Amen.
To say, I don't know what I'm doing, or I got it wrong. Those are the three things that I think for me, and to this day, vulnerability is a thing I'm not that I've mastered, but I feel like I'm pretty good at it.
I would agree.
Giving feedback, still to this day, as many people, unfortunately, that I've had to part ways with, it's still not something that I love to do. And receive feedback, as much as I'm like, I want feedback.
Yeah.
When I get it, it doesn't always feel good.
Right.
But usually that's when I need it the most.
I heard something recently. When making someone not feel uncomfortable trumps telling the truth, we have lost our way.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would agree with you. I think vulnerability, like I still don't know what I'm doing, and I have grown this really big company, and I say that to my team to remind them, like, asking for help is a sign of intelligence, not a sign of weakness. But you decided to stay.
Yeah.
Why?
My mom.
Okay.
It was a very tumultuous time for me personally. Also professionally, doing something that I had never done before at that level. You know, she told me, she's like, you got to give it a year before you give up. You have to. And thank God I listened to her, because it was like month 9 or 10 is where things started to feel normal, right? The having an uncomfortable conversation kind of was like, I can tell him not to be late, or I can pull him in the office and have a private conversation with him. I think honestly, like, I'd love to say, well, my pure grit and maybe there was some of that was involved, but my mom saying you have to give it a year.
I love that. I need to call your mom and thank her. I say that to folks when they transition from one position to the next, no matter what it is. Give it a year. It's going to take you a year to figure out how to do the job with any level of competency. So how did that feel, though, once you had climbed that mini mountain? Because we know that there's always a mountain to climb.
Sure.
You know, how did that feel after that?
I felt like I knew what I was doing. I felt like I could go open my own restaurant. I feel like I felt like I was ready, but I wasn't.
Right.
We always think we are.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And so now you're managing one restaurant and you were put in charge of multiple restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
What's that about?
That was the toughest transition, going from 1 to 2. You're so focused on one thing or one group, one controlling of food and booze, of labor, of guest experience, of one staff, and you go from a staff of like 30 to 40 people to a staff of 80, right? And one's new, one's not. One's got your full attention because you got to get it open. You got to get it open properly. Well, then the first restaurant's like, well, John's not here enough. And
Right.
so then you go back to that. And then the new restaurant costs are out of control because it's a nightmare. And then
Right.
true to form, about a year later, it's kind of like, okay, I got this.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, man, I did that with you. I went from 2 to 28. And
Yep.
now I've got 2, and holy shit, that one was tough too. And one of them's 700 square feet.
Right. It's different being an owner. We'll talk about that. I definitely want to talk about that. One of the things that I, as you know, we in our 11 years together, I said this, and I hope you feel this. I had never had anybody in our company that I thought saw the world, and not the world of food, but the world of people, like me until you. And it's emotional intelligence. And I don't think we talk enough in society. You know, we look at resumes, we look at, less in our case, but we do. We look at college degrees, where you worked, but we don't talk about emotional intelligence. And for me, the definition of is that intuitive sense in every moment, every unscripted moment, which is life, right? This person needs this. This person needs something different. This decision, although maybe rules were broken, maybe we need to look deeper. This person needs praise today. You know, this insurmountable hill, which I have no context for how to deal with, but my gut's telling me I should do this. Do you think that's something that can be taught? Because I don't think you can be a great leader, especially when we're in the human experience business. And I believe that no matter what happens to AI, and the more disconnected, and I use that word strongly, we become because of technology, the more connected people are going to crave. They're going to want that connection that only a restaurant can bring. What? So to me, like, and emotional intelligence trumps everything.
Sure.
So can that be taught?
For me specifically, I mean, I can't say, maybe it can. I don't believe so, though.
Okay.
I personally, I've thought about this often, because when I look at future leaders, I look at, man, do they have an innate ability to connect with people? And I don't mean talk. I don't necessarily mean like I can communicate. I mean, do they have that innate ability that after they've worked with a person for a couple months to know that Steve's not okay today?
Right.
He may not have said anything. I personally think that emotional intelligence comes from trauma as a child. I believe that it maybe not trauma, sure. I think hardships and things that we went through in the developmental period of our life that were hard to get through allow us to feel differently than others.
You know, I've never thought about that. So you know this. I mean, I've probably been in therapy for 40 of 56 of my years. And my father died at a young age, was terminally ill most of my childhood. And then my grandfather died 9 months later. And I was in therapy as a kid. And people used to refer to me as an old soul, right? When I was 11, 12, 13, because I had an understanding of things that were beyond people, of human behavior. And a therapist said, you know, when the veil of childhood gets ripped away because of trauma, we grow up in ways that are unnatural. They can serve us well.
Sure.
But maybe that's what you're referring to. Maybe that's where the emotional intelligence comes from. I've never thought about that, but I have thought about the fact that I'm saying the same thing. I have thought about the fact that I can read people, and I'm intuitive about situations because of that experience.
People used to say, you know, I lost my dad when I was 16. You know, my mom and I early on had a splintered relationship. My, not to trauma dump, but my, you know, my dad, when he was on his deathbed, his wife at the time was pregnant 3 months later after he died. You know, these things in these developmental stages of my life that happen. And people used to be like, you're so mature for your age. Well, little did they know what was happening behind the scenes.
Right.
I wasn't
right.
mature, but there was an emotional sense of like, this kid's been through more and he understands at a deeper level than someone his age should. And I think that I believe I am grateful for those.
Me
for
too.
so many reasons.
Me too.
And while I wouldn't wish it on anybody, I feel like it's made me a more well-rounded person, not necessarily a leader, but person because of them.
We could spend the next hour talking about that, and I couldn't agree with you more. You and I have talked at great lengths about how folks that we lead seem to the avoidance of uncomfortable conversations, pick any timeline, the last 10 years seems to be a more difficult thing. What role do you think social media plays in that?
Shit. I mean, it's got to some extent.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
I mean, as a kid, the only thing I knew is what I saw on TV or read in magazines or a book.
Right.
So my reality was my reality. And nowadays, I think that, you know, social media has done, I was having this conversation the other day with somebody. There's so many things that social media has done that have made life better.
Yes.
And there's so many things that social media has done that have made life so much worse. I mean, I'm sure it plays a part on it. What extent? I don't know, but you know, that's a really good question. I don't have an answer for.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting. I have, because I have a 15-year-old daughter who we still have not let on social media yet. I paid more attention to things that I probably wouldn't have paid attention to, but it to me, it's like one of the great dichotomies of our business. We're in the human connection business, right? Which is an emotional experience. Yes, we're feeding people. There's a physical nourishment. There can be a transcendent, I've never had this before.
100%.
I was at Kase, your omakase place last night, and the people all around me took me 6 months to get this reservation. This is amazing. And it was fun just to be there by myself and watch. Two girls had driven from Chattanooga. They were literally driving back because they had been on a wait list. So, you know, it's an emotional connection, but it's also transcendent to people. And I've had many like life-changing meals. And yet the people that are delivering those experiences find, it seems, and I'm stereotyping and I'm well aware of that it's harder and harder to have human connection.
Sure.
So I think that's interesting. Maybe this is their outlet to do the thing that they struggle with. I'm not sure.
I'm excited for our future. Sorry to interrupt.
Me too.
Because, you know, someone asked the other day of like, do you think AI is going to ruin or make people in your business obsolete? And I was like, absolutely not. I think if anything, it's going to make our business thrive even more.
I agree. I think, you know, McDonald's probably won't have any human beings pretty soon.
Of course.
5 to 10 years, I think drive-thrus are probably completely automated. But what we do, I think there's only going to be more of a demand for it.
I think so too.
I think people's expectations of it will continue to rise, which they should. I mean, it's expensive to go out to eat. And you know this. I mean, our margins it's hard to make money now. It's harder than it was 3 years ago.
Yep.
Rents are high, build outs are high. I mean, I literally was on a call. I mean, I don't have a single development project that's on time or on budget. Not one, you know, which begs lots of questions on why I keep doing it. But what so you're moving through the Indigo Road. You're growing and gaining knowledge and wisdom. People genuinely liked working for you. What was the downside
of working at the Indigo Road?
No, of taking on, people look at a restaurant group, right? And I've said this before to different people, and it draws some criticisms about how can the quality still be the same when or it's becoming too corporate. And those comments don't bother me. They cause reflection.
Sure.
But what were you trading? Going from one restaurant to overseeing, really, I mean, you were the director of operations for the entire company at one point.
Sure.
What was the trade-off and what was the benefit? And I'm asking this question for people that might watch this and
of course,
are considering growing.
I mean, man, every decision you make comes with a cost. Every single decision. You have to decide what are you willing to, do you want it to cost a lot or do you want it to cost a little? I didn't trade anything. Personally, I don't believe that I traded anything. Sure, did I work harder? Sure. But I was already working hard. You know what I mean? Like, for me, it was the cost was either be in the same place I am next year or the year after and know what I know and maybe a little bit more, or be in a different place a couple years later, a much more elevated place, emotionally, spiritually, professionally, financially, and work harder. Like, for me, it was simple. Like, it's like today, like I want to continue to grow our company, right? Not because I want to make more money, but because I want to affect more change. Honestly, I want to affect more change.
Me too. Money is the byproduct of 100%. A job well done.
Exactly.
I think. I know lots of people would debate all of those things, and
Yeah, well, here's the thing. People will be like, "Oh, well, but so-and-so makes more money, or you're making just as much money as so-and-so." And it's like, I don't give a shit.
Right.
Money's never been the driving factor. Now look, 5 years later, 10 years later, that person that made the same amount of money as me, where are they now and where am I now? Right. Not that I'm comparing.
No.
But like, money should never be the driving force.
No, absolutely not. Did you ever feel in that role, like, what were your successes? How did you measure success? You're overseeing 28, I guess, was when you left us?
Something like that, yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, a lot. And grateful for it. I think the successes more than anything were watching people grow and watching people learn about themselves and watching people become better, not professionally necessarily, as people. I think the biggest success for me, though, was sobriety.
Oh, cool. I'm glad we're going to talk about that.
Yeah. I think, you
got sober
2019.
5 years.
6.5 years.
6.5 years. Still remember the phone call.
I do too.
When a restaurant person calls you at 7 a.m, it's never good. I was in bed with Shelby and your name came up and I'm like, this is not going to be good.
It was great.
It was great. I mean,
ultimately, it was a
traumatic moment.
Yes.
Where I call it receiving the gift of desperation. And I get puzzled looks and I'm like, that moment that your reservations are completely gone and you're willing to do whatever it takes to change your life. That's a gift. It usually comes through some horrible shit.
Yep.
The gift of desperation, man. Yep. It's the most powerful gift in the world, I think.
It really is.
I'm so proud of you, by the way.
Appreciate it, man.
It's not an easy task, 6.5 years.
No, dude.
How did sobriety and thank God. I mean, I'm coming up November 5th. Will be 24 years.
It's wild.
Which is You know, like literally I'll be able to say more than half my life I've been sober. And that's meaningful to me.
Of course.
That I've been sober longer than I drank. Wellness, thank God, and just in society at large has become so much more of an acceptable, socially acceptable conversation. I remember when I first got sober, I'd be at dinner and everybody would be like, is it going to make you uncomfortable if I drink? And I'm like, it's going to make me uncomfortable if you keep asking me.
Yeah.
Like, just you do you. I'm good. How do you think being sober, how has that changed your leadership?
I mean, it's changed it completely.
Right.
You know, I know for a fact, and I used to hear you say this, I wouldn't be where I am today had it not been for that DUI.
Yeah.
Right. I would not be where I am today. I may still be working for you. Shit, you may have had to fire me. You know?
Yep.
Who knows? I think
I remember saying to you that morning, you may not remember this, but I said, you know, John, I'm not gonna, we had been talking about you becoming
for a while
my number two. And I said, you know, John, I'm not going to tell you how to live your life outside of work, but I am going to tell you that I'm not going to have a number two that I'm worried about whether he's an alcoholic or not.
Dude, I can still remember, and I can't believe that I remember this. You dropped me off at a house I lived at on Fishburne Street after the Club Oku days, way back in the Wild West.
In the Wild West.
And I was Blurry Murray because that was one of my nicknames.
Right.
And it's funny now, but it's sad when I really think about it. But dude, I'd been wrestling with that decision for years. And dude, it's changed my life completely. And I know I wouldn't be where I am today without it. I know I wouldn't be as evolved as a human. I wouldn't be as evolved as a leader. I wouldn't be able to help people that need help. I wouldn't be able to point them in the right direction. I think that decision also, or that decision in that moment also maybe helped me become a little bit more emotionally intelligent as well.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, you heard me say it a million times, and I still say it, and people kind of, there would be no Indigo Road if I hadn't gotten sober. For me, I'd be dead.
Same here.
I was very much on that path. But isn't it wonderful now, and maybe I didn't complete my full thought, I see, like, my senior team, I'd say 80% of the people don't drink. And nobody else identifies as an alcoholic that needed help. But isn't it wonderful that our industry, you know, I talk a lot about, I want to leave the industry better than I found it. Isn't it wonderful to see like our industry going, you know, I don't have to go out and blow myself to bits every single night. Like,
yes.
And you can tell it in your manager meetings. Like when you quit drinking, I always say, I said, put me in a room of 100 drunks and I can tell you the ones that have the problem.
Right.
I wish I didn't see it.
Right.
But I see it.
Yeah.
And it's clear.
Yeah.
Isn't that great? Don't you think that, I mean, ultimately that makes for a better guest experience, right? That's a given. But it makes for a better employment experience.
The whole nine, man. I mean,
your employees benefit from your sobriety.
Of course they do. And I don't force anything on anybody.
Of course not. I'm not talking about it.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, it is our industry for years. Maybe this to go back to a question you asked earlier, like why haven't people taken this industry seriously?
Yeah.
Maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe it was, you know, people partied and drank and did all the things. And now we're going, hey, that's not okay.
Right.
Because at what job at, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, is it okay for me and you to have a shot when we're sitting at our cubicle?
Right. No job.
No job.
Right.
So it shouldn't be okay for us to do the same at a restaurant.
Right. Amen.
So, yeah.
Amen. So talk about the moment, which was not a happy moment for me, but I'm proud of you. We were working together. I came to you with what I thought was a pretty big offer. Mm-hmm. Essentially the keys to the kingdom, the heir apparent. And you turned me down. And you said no. And you decided to go out on your own and open your own restaurant. Tell me about that.
Man, I think, and you'll appreciate this and understand this. You get to a point where you feel like you have to try on your own. And not try on your own. Like, I'm not doing anything that we're doing alone.
Right.
Whatsoever. Like, if anything, I'm more obsolete than I've ever been.
Well, that means you're doing your job
well. Sure. But I needed to go out. I needed to walk out on a limb without somebody holding my hand and see if I could make it work. Right. And so to go back to my point a few minutes ago, is that I've never done anything for money. In FYI, I'm still not making that much money.
All you future entrepreneurs need to hear that.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I didn't take a salary for a year and a half. I burned through every bit of savings. I ran up $50,000 in credit card debt. My better half, she paid the majority of the bills. I had to do it for me. I couldn't do it for anybody else but me. And now that I've done that, now I can do it for others. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
Yeah, totally.
But it had nothing to do with being unhappy. It had everything to do with being that I needed to know that I was capable. As a child, and growing up, and feedback you've given me and other people have given me, it's like you need to speak better about yourself. You need to be less derogatory. You speak down. And I needed to prove to me, to Jonathan Murray, that I was capable. And that was where that decision came from.
Right.
That was it.
And good for you.
Thanks.
I'm proud of you.
Appreciate it.
You're under construction. Did you have any moments of like, what the hell have I done?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, every day.
Okay, so it wasn't all like, sunshine and roses.
No, man. I mean, I took 2.5 months off, traveled the world as much as you could at that level of COVID. So there was a peace and a sense about me that I had. But, having to call and ask for an extra $250,000 from your investor when you were already $250,000 over what you told him it was going to be, not an easy ask. And to live with that for a week or two, to find the courage to do that.
I remember you called me.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
I hate those phone calls.
It's still to this day.
My investors are like mom and dad. I don't want to disappoint them ever.
Wilson calls our guy dad, and he says we just have to call for gas money from time to time.
Yeah,
we are out of gas money.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, I still do.
Easy for the guy not making the call to say,
yeah,
love you, Wilson.
Yeah, right. But honestly, dude, I mean, still to this day, there are days where I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I am failing miserably. I am letting every one of our people down. I am preaching from the pulpit about how this industry needs change, how we need to take better care of our people. And then there's days where I'm like, but man, I'm failing. I'm not doing a good enough job.
And what do you think that's about?
That feeling?
Yeah.
Man, I think it's the only thing that keeps fighting to make the things I want to make happen. Right?
So you need that feeling.
Because otherwise I'd be arrogant.
Amen.
And I would be full of myself.
Right.
Humility is one of our values.
Totally.
Right. And I mean, once in a blue moon, I probably think I'm the shit internally. Right. But then God humbles me real quick after.
God has a funny way of doing that.
Yes.
Funny way.
Yes. So, man, I doubt myself. I don't want to say every day, but 20% of the time I doubt myself. 80% of the time I believe in myself. And I think,
you're doing better than I'm doing. I need to work on that.
Yeah. Well, but
still in therapy, by the way.
Well,
every
me
Monday
too.
morning.
Me too, man.
every Monday morning.
That 20% fuels me, I think, to be better, man. I miss with our people often. I can say I'm emotionally intelligent, and I think I am. But there's days where I get it wrong, man.
Me too.
Yeah. I really do. And also, I think one of the things amongst the many that you and Indigo Road have taught me is how to take care of people. right? I think our industry, and I'm not speaking in absolutes, I'm not speaking in everybody's, because there are some great companies. I've experienced it firsthand with yours. But our industry has done a pretty poor job of taking care of their people.
We have.
You know,
think it's getting better.
I do too. I believe that.
Because of, you know, what I've said to you all the time when you say thank you, I say, well, give it to somebody else.
Right.
You know, pay it forward.
Right.
Which is cliche, but when you really do that, it's powerful.
Yeah. And when you're preaching, or I don't know, preaching is the wrong word, but when you're talking about the things, when we talk about the things that we do for our people, it leaves us more open to be ridiculed, right? Or to be more observed.
I feel like I have a big target on my back.
We all do,
right? Because of the growth, and because you stay true to your message, and you stay true, knowing that you're not always going to get it right.
Right.
And in every coffee and culture talk I do, I say we don't always get it right. But isn't that interesting? You're making a bold statement about something that's incredibly positive, right? And yet at the same time, that opens you up to be judged for it.
Yeah. Yes.
I've seen restaurateurs like that say nothing, and maybe they're running a good shop. I would generally say they are.
Right.
But they say nothing, and they just kind of fly under the radar. And sometimes I'm like, you know, if I just talked less about this culture thing, maybe less people would judge me for it.
Sure, man. But I think a lot of people are doing it wrong, get it wrong. Their intention is not pure. Their heart's not pure. And those people need to be called out, in my opinion.
Yeah. When I had Danny Meyer on the pod, I said, what's your hope for the industry? And he said that more people would get into it for the right reason.
Yep.
And I think that was pretty powerful. So Noko opens.
Mm-hmm.
3 former Indigo Road employees, proud dad moment, and took off like a rocket. Was it best, I'm going to get this wrong, best new restaurant in Nashville?
Eater Nashville, yeah. James
Beard nomination.
Mm-hmm.
What did that feel like?
Man, I almost didn't want it.
Really?
And this is why. Not because I respect James Beard. I mean, that's one of, if not the most coveted, recognition.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the Oscars.
It is.
I'm like Susan Lucci, always the bridesmaid, never the bride, which is fine. It's an honor to be nominated.
It is, it's right?
Fine. Yeah.
But I never want to do anything unless I'm going to win. And I felt, man, we're still evolving. We're still learning. What Noko looks like 5 years from now is not what Noko is going to look like today.
Right.
And I personally, in that moment, didn't think we were quite at a mature enough level that we could win.
Okay.
Right. Not that to discount Junior and all his efforts,
but
it was our first restaurant, man. I mean, we did that thing on a dime. I mean, our chairs are from Target. Like, we did it. And I think
the chairs are from Target.
That's
powerful, man.
They are.
I didn't know that.
$49 a chair, brother.
I love that.
I mean, dude, we did that thing on a dime.
Oh, I love that.
And that restaurant, the success of that restaurant, it was kind of like catching lightning in a bottle.
Right.
To an extent. And I've never experienced anything like that. I don't know if I'll ever experience anything like that again. I hope I do. I hope everyone we open, we do.
Yeah. And you won't, but you will again.
Yeah.
And you'll know the difference.
Yeah.
I've had that happen recently with a few things, and I'm like, I don't take it for granted, because then I've opened things that are
it takes a while, right?
It takes a while, man.
Yeah.
It takes a while.
I think the community of Nashville has rallied around us unlike any community I've ever been a part of. And you've
also embraced the community.
We have. I mean, we do a lot for our community. And we met today with our team about what more can we do, because we don't feel like we're doing enough.
I feel that way often. We need to do more.
Yeah. So, but that, man, it's not the awards. All I ever wanted to do was have employees that were really, really happy in a healthy restaurant. And we have those. And so I've got everything I would ever need, man.
So opening your first, you feel a sense of foundation under you, meaning we're not going to go out of business next week. We're at least going to make payroll, because those are the way your brain works when you're like, we're going to be able to pay the landlord. That's good. These are good. How has success at Noko been different? And not like numbers or sales, but like, how has it been different? How has owning a restaurant, being the guy, been different than you thought it would be?
It's more pressure. It's more pressure. I had a moment Tuesday night looking around, popping between both restaurants, going, man, every single person here is counting on me, Wilson, and Junior to produce. That's how they pay for their children. That's how they pay their mortgages.
Right.
I mean, of course, it's sweeter when it's yours.
Yeah.
But it's more pressure. A good pressure, though. Like, I don't say that in a bad way.
I think people, before they get into it, underestimate that. You know, Scott Crawford in Raleigh is a good friend, and Scott calls me in all of his darkest moments. I should send him a bill. I think I'm his therapist. And, you know, the scale of my shit is always worse than his.
Yeah.
So he'll call me and say, you know, whenever I'm having a bad day, I just call you and you make me feel better. And I'm like, well, I'm glad I could provide that service for you, Scott. Meanwhile, I'm having a panic attack. You know, meanwhile, I'm wondering if I'm going to blow the whole thing up. The weight of that responsibility, it's big, man. I'm humbled by it. You know, the idea that, like, it's multifaceted. The idea that the team has chosen to work here because they could work anywhere. You know, we're all still needing people. I think it's gotten better.
It has.
I think the staffing crisis has gotten better. But they've chosen to work with us. Presumably, they bought into the mission, the culture, and they're counting on us to make good decisions. That's a lot.
It really is, man.
It's humbling. I don't understand arrogant leaders, awards or not. I don't understand. I just don't get it, because I look at our staffs and go, I need them a whole lot more than they need me. Do you feel that way?
100%. Every award or recognition we've got it's not about me. It's about them.
Exactly.
They're the ones that make people feel the way they feel when they walk in the room. They're the men and the women in the kitchen that, you know, pour their, literally at times, blood, sweat, and tears into making a dish that someone's going to eat. You know, it's the dishwasher. We've got a guy named Thomas. He's deaf. He's been with us basically since day one. 56-year-old dishwasher, and he is the guy that comes in happy every single day. You know, these people, man, they are what make a restaurant. A restaurant is an idea.
Right.
It really is. It's the people in it that make it what it is.
It's the soul of the place. It's the people, man.
Yeah.
So then you said, let's do it again.
Yep.
And I think you hit lightning in a bottle the second time out. I mean, Kase, which is is it 18 seats?
14.
14 seats. And what I admire is that, you know, you worked with us, and now you've gone and done, in my judgment, bolder things than I've done. I've thought about doing, you know, we have a lot of Japanese restaurants.
Sure.
About to open an izakaya, which I'm scared to death that it won't work.
That sounds fun, though.
I mean, I'm not scared that Masa's going to produce beautiful food. I'm worried, you know, is Charleston ready for that? But you went and did omakase, and I generally think there's a bit of a omakase bubble going on.
There is, of course.
I mean, every article, omakase.
Yep.
And I didn't understand the business model, but you've hit a home run. Tell me about why you felt like you needed to go do that.
Well, I don't know if, you know, we're always working on performers, lots and lots of ideas, and
Performers in her critical thing that most first-time restaurateurs
got to make sure it works.
Got to make sure it works financially,
And it's got to work in the worst case. Yeah.
Part of our business, but man, talk about something that doesn't get talked about enough.
The performa, I mean, there's, I was talking to a restaurant broker the other day and she was like, I wish more people were like you. This person doesn't even have a performa. And I'm like, well, I'm the one that signed to pay back the X amount of dollars that we're borrowing. Right. Not that I have anything for them to come get necessarily, right. But that's my money more than it is theirs. Right.
And most of us are borrowing money from investors.
Yeah.
And like there could be seminars, books written about that. It's not sexy, but neither is opening your dream and watching it not work financially. And you know this, your restaurant can be full every single night and it's still not working.
100%. Yeah.
I'm always shocked at to the investor community, ask for the performa.
Yeah, that's the first thing you should ask for.
When the dreamer comes to sell you, say, where's your performa?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, third week of Noko going out, $30,000 in AC went out.
There it is.
But we had money in the bank account to handle it because we prepared for it.
Right.
We made sure that we had a cushion in case things didn't go well. But somebody taught me that. You know.
The AC is going to go down when you least need it to go down.
It will. It will, especially in second generation space. For Kase, I had been to New York City on sushi trips with you. I love food. I've learned to be a student of it. In the majority of the ones that I went to were all super, super expensive. Like
$250, $350,
$1,000, you name it. And in most of them in beautiful spaces, well designed, whatever it may be. But I had a moment on our Christmas trip, go to New York for Christmas every year for a couple of days, just because there's nothing like the city during the holidays.
Ditto.
And was eating at a place in the East Village. There was a 60-minute dining experience for $65, and it was 13 courses. And it's bite for bite, the best omakase, not necessarily experience, but food that I've had. And Mary and I were sitting there and we both looked at each other and like, well, why wouldn't we do this? Let me rewind. There was a juice joint next to us that was struggling mightily. Like I'd come into work and he'd be like, have a headache, had to go home. Like, and so I went to the partner and I said, hey man, I don't wish you any ill will, but if you're looking to get out of your lease, let me know. 2 weeks later, he came over, we signed the lease, had no idea what we were going to do. And then the way the universe works, having dinner, it was like, man, what if we could take the $1,000 experience in this price point and marry the two and create something that's approachable to Nashville and that's affordable? And that's what we did. And it's,
and you did it beautifully.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I had dinner there last night. It was amazing.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It's a hard reservation to get. One of the hardest in Nashville right now.
Not that this matters, but we were, again, yesterday, second time this year, named one of the hardest restaurants or reservations in America to get. Next to French Laundry. It was like, dude,
that's crazy.
It's nuts. Absolutely insane.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's got to feel good.
It does, but
not that people can't get in, because I know you and I are.
No, I want to.
We're not into elitism at all, and I know that.
Right, but with 14 seats, it's there's only so many miracles you can work with a space.
And it's a $75 omakase, and it's working financially. So the business plan, not just the creative plan, but the business plan are aligned.
The business plan, our investor, it's the first thing he asks for. He's like, oh, let me see the performa. He doesn't even ask about what it's, he does, but it's like, let's see if it works on paper.
Right.
That's, if you're going to put $1 million, $500,000, whatever the number is into something, no one goes into business to not make money.
Right.
It's not the driving force, but like we've got to make enough money.
It's got to be the byproduct.
Right.
Which your employees need a successful business so their paycheck's clear, right? Like your investors want to be paid back. They deserve to be paid back.
Of course
They're
do.
taking a lot of risk on
they
guys like me and you.
Yes.
That's really beautiful. I always talk about when art and commerce intersect.
Yep.
It's painful, a lot of chefs, what they do is art, and we love the art. But but people have to want to consume it.
Yep.
And it's why I think it's why a lot of artists will give their work to a gallery and they let the gallery handle the sales part because they're artists.
Sure.
It's uncomfortable.
Sure.
And that's like that can be the hard truth in our business. Like I remember a chef that you and I worked with a long time ago was creating his food. And I asked him one night, I said, who are you cooking for? Are you cooking for you or are you cooking for them? Because you got to meet them in the middle, because as beautiful as your art is, if they don't want to eat it,
you're not going to be in business.
You're not going to be in business.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, again, the part of our industry that like doesn't get enough time. So what's next?
We've got some irons in the fire.
Okay.
You know, I like to keep what we're doing tight-lipped until we're about to give birth.
Okay.
You know, we start construction in 2 weeks on a new project here in Nashville. We've had a lease signed for 1.5 years. It has been challenge and hurdle. But I truly believe that we weren't ready. And so the universe does what the universe does.
Yep.
I feel like we're finally ready. And yeah, man, I think for us and for me, I want to open more restaurants, not to make more money, but to affect more change. I want people to go, man, look around other restaurateurs. I was actually on the phone with a restaurateur this morning that's outside of Nashville that called me and said, how are you doing these things? Can you walk me through it? And I'm like, you are actually the first person who has ever called me to ask this. And this is what I want. But people to look and go, man, Steve Palmer's doing that and he's successful. Jon Murray's doing that. He's successful. Whoever it may be, like, I want to grow to affect change. I want to grow to prove to people that hospitality is an amazing line of work to be in, and that you can create an amazing life out of it. And so we're going to continue to grow. We're looking in Nashville. We'll probably get outside of Nashville at some point. Exactly when that is, I don't know. Where, I have no clue. But you know, we got to keep producing.
You know, it's funny you talked about. I try to. I'm sure I miss calls, and I get about 400 emails a day, so I'm sure I miss things. But I think that's important. The power of mentorship. Like, I try to make myself available when somebody says, "Can I just talk to you about the business?" I always try to make myself available. I think that's so powerful because a healthy industry is good for all of us.
Dude.
You know, when an operator goes out of business, you know, it's not good. It's not good. And often you'll hear customers like, I was just there last week. What happened? And they just don't realize the 100 things that need to go right for a restaurant to actually work.
It's so funny. People are like, we're in the restaurant business. Like, you come in at 2, 3 o'clock, right? And I'm like, I was at the restaurant at 7:15 this morning.
Right.
And I don't say that from like, look at me, but to run a business requires a lot of effort.
And that's true in any industry.
Of course.
I think, you know, if you said to me, what's the number one thing people get wrong about entrepreneurship, is that it's easier.
Dude, it's
you
harder.
work so much harder. You know, obviously the rewards are greater.
Sure.
Risk reward. Okay. I have some questions I ask every one of our guests, and then our PR people want me to ask you some things. What does the word hospitality mean to you?
4 words: home, warmth, comfort, and love.
I like that. Short, succinct, but powerful.
I've had years to think about that one.
Yeah. What is the thing that you're most afraid of?
Not living up to what our people need. We can go out of business, we can all that, but not living up to what we're striving to be for our people.
Promise. Not living up to the promise.
Yeah.
I have such a fear of failure, imposter syndrome,
Same.
all of that.
Yeah, all of them.
I was at the Welcome Conference and I ran into Missy Robbins, the great New York chef who I will have on this show eventually. And we were just, you know, connecting on our struggles and our insecurities. And I said, I'm afraid I'm going to screw this all up. And she looked at me and she was like, you built one of the biggest companies, restaurant groups in the Southeast. And I'm like, I know. And the feeling doesn't change.
Of course it doesn't.
What's your hope for the hospitality industry? I mean, you've already, I feel like, articulated that over and over again. But in one sentence, what's your hope for the industry?
Wow. In one sentence, what is my hope for the hospitality industry? That we take care of ourselves at a deeper level.
I love that. What a great goal for us all. I think that's it. I'm going to grab the questions now.
Food trends.
Oh, yeah, food trends. And then we have a gift for you.
Oh, cool.
I don't have to put my glasses on. I'm blind. Okay, so I'll ask you that same question more relative to right now. What do you hope to see next year in the hospitality industry?
That's a hard question.
What do you think 2026 will bring? What do you hope it'll bring?
Just as an industry as a whole?
Mm-hmm.
More awareness to the necessity of mental health, like the ability for people to have access to therapists, to Ben's friends, the well-being. I hope that our well-being gets better next year and every year moving forward.
Me too.
Yeah.
What are you most looking forward to next year? Your new unnamed concept finally opening?
Well, we have a name for it. But we're not talking about it publicly.
That's right. Sorry. Yeah. I don't even think I know what the name is. I think I know what you're doing. But.
Yeah, but man, my hope next year, the thing I'm most excited about is watching our next line of people get a chance at getting more.
Yeah.
Not getting more, but taking on more responsibility.
Yeah. Oh,
learning more. That's I look at our Carries, I look at our Madelines, I look at our Peytons, I look at Kylie's, I look at Morgan's, I look at Jenna's, I look at Wilson, I look at Junior's, and I go, man, I am so excited for what next year brings. It's going to be difficult, but a good difficult.
Your staff, by the way, last night was lovely.
Beautiful.
And it's so obvious they love what they're doing. And that, to me, is a measure of a good leader.
We just got to get them an espresso machine.
You got to get an espresso machine. Dude, I was like, you're not serious, right? And then I was like, I said this when I ate at Noko last year. You, of all people.
Bro, we bought chairs from Target. Come on, dog. We couldn't afford an espresso machine. I'm going to give you one for Christmas. Stevie Claus is bringing the espresso to Noko and Kase. What hospitality trend do you hope takes off in 26? And what trend do you hope stays in 2025? More people opening omakase places. Like, what's the saying? All high tide
rises all boats.
Boats or whatever it may be, man. Bring it on, dude. Let's go. I personally, and this isn't a cop out of an answer, I'm not worried about trends.
Me neither.
Like, a trend is exactly that. A trend. It's the same thing as like, people are like, you got the hottest restaurant. I don't want the hottest restaurant.
Right.
I don't. I want a restaurant that has staying power.
Right.
Right. Man, I'm not paying attention to trends. I dine out to eat and I look and see what are on the menu. I try things and I go, man, that works or that's good.
Right.
Hopefully the trend next year is we just keep producing good food and stop doing gimmicks.
Yeah.
You know?
I hate the gimmicky stuff.
Same.
Last one. What was your best food moment of 2025? And what are you most looking forward to eating in 2026?
My best food moment. Well, I just had one. I got to go to the tuna market in the fish or tuna auction at the fish market in Japan.
Yep.
With
I had bad FOMO when I saw you over there.
so cool. So cool.
Shelby and I are going to go for cherry blossoms in the spring.
Let me know. I might be able to get you in.
Okay.
One of our purveyors is out of there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that was probably the coolest thing because that's something I've wanted to do. It was really cool to see that. Man, I got to be honest with you, like probably the more well-rounded meal I've had all year, if not the most well-rounded, is chubby fish.
Chubby fish is banging.
Yeah, man.
I mean, just made the top 20.
North America.
Yeah. Shelby, and that's our date night space.
Yeah.
James and Yo-Yo they're killing the game.
Yeah, we every time we, well, not every time, most every time we go in town, we go, but I think it was 2 times ago I left and I was like, bite for bite, that might be the best meal I've had in a long time.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sweet.
Well, my producer dude, Robbie. Hi, Robbie. Come on in. So Charleston Smithy Ironware. We give this away to our special people. It's a cast iron.
Sweet.
And it has your name on it.
What?
It's engraved. Open it up.
Seriously?
Yeah. It's heavy.
Can I move this?
Yeah, you can move it.
I actually need a new cast iron.
Made right there in Charleston, South
Who makes
Kakalaki. These guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Native to Charleston? Or
Yeah. Yeah.
How long has this been going on?
That's a great question. They're relatively new.
Okay.
I should probably.
Oh, shit.
I should. Yeah.
This is beautiful.
Oh yeah. And flip it over.
Appreciate that, brother.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, man.
You bet.
Love you.
Love you.
Mean it. Grateful.
Thank you. And thanks for being on.
Yeah.
Hope you liked what you heard. If you did, tell a friend. Heck, tell an enemy. Just tell everybody. We're on all the major platforms. Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Say Grace. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Say Grace, Food for Thought and Hospitality. We hope you join us next time as we continue to dive deeper into the inspirational stories about the transformative power of hospitality.